Hey guys, today I'm going to be taking a look at this new little brushed GPS drone by Hubsan. This is the X4 Desire, those X4 Desire Pro, as you can see here on the box. The actual model number is the H216A. As I said, it's got GPS, it's got FPV feed. It does have waypoints and follow me, which I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to test that in a review flight, just because if it's not been brutally cold, it's been awfully windy. And today is a little bit windy, so I don't know if I'm going to have the room to test at least the waypoints, but we'll definitely at least test like return to land and just how well it holds position and stuff like that, which I've got a few test flights in with it, and it does a pretty darn good job as long as you get the compass calibrated well. It's got a nice feeling remote, though I'll go over the remote in a minute because there's something about that I do not like. It's auto takeoff, altitude hold, which of course any GPS has. One thing the box is wrong about here, it says 720p cam. It's actually a 1080p cam. Like, I'm 99% sure that it is. The Hubsan website says it too. I recorded video, and I was looking at the video, and the recorded video is actually really good, and I'm positive it was 1080. So that's just a misprint on the box. So let's go ahead and look over the drone. Like I said, here's a 1080p camera in the front, and it takes really good footage. I mean, there was literally no jello wobble. Obviously it's not stabilized because there's no gimbal and there's no stabilization software, but it does a really good job. So I'm really impressed with the camera on it. It does record to a micro USB card, which I've got a nice one here, a fast one at 16 gig here. It does not come with the card, so you have to provide that yourself, so there's no card or reader. See, the battery goes here in the back, and it uses a red JST plug. There also is a USB port, so I assume that would be a way you could flash and upgrade the firmware on it, which Hubsan usually is pretty good about that. You see a few scuffs here on my props. On one of the test flights, it was pretty windy, and I can't even remember how I scuffed them up, but they're fine. They're not damaged. I don't remember the light color here. Let's go ahead and plug in the battery now. If I can pull the plug out here. I don't remember the LED colors. You don't, there's no on and off switch, which is a little odd. Kind of reminds me of what CX-20 was that way. And got blue in the front and you got red in the back, and it kind of hums. As everything's on, you can hear it humming there. I don't know if it'll be picked up on my microphone or not. So that's your LEDs. I said blue in the front and red in the back. That should be enough to kind of go over the quadcopter. You do have to calibrate the compass every time you start up the app, and it's real easy and real basic. Your typical spinning vertical and horizontal, horizontal then vertical, I should say. So the battery that it comes with is a 750 milliamp hour, 7.6 volt. So that is a lithium. It's a LiPo high voltage, so a little more voltage. You could still use a 2S 7.4 volt, there'd be no problem, but a little more power on the 7.6 volts. So if you have a hobby grade charger, you got to make sure you select the lithium high voltage, LiPo high voltage option, which it'll warn you to make sure, because obviously if you charge a regular LiPo on that voltage, you'll ruin the LiPo. So because it's nice that it has the red JST, so it's easy enough. I just use my hobby grade charger, but the charger that it comes with is just a USB charger here, and it charges at 0.8 amps, so it charges at 1C, so it should takes about an hour and a half to charge it up off the balance port. So, and then it comes with a full set of extra propellers, and it comes with a blue Phillips screwdriver for doing repairs. I could probably throw new props on this, but these are just scuffed. They're not cracked or damaged or anything. It does also come with prop guards, so if I put those on, maybe it wouldn't have happened, but I'm usually not a big fan of prop guards, as you know from my previous reviews. The controller, as I said, feels really nice, and I really like the feel of it and the functions of it. As you can see, of course, it's got altitude hold. Pressing in on the buttons doesn't do anything. See, there's no way to change the rates. I believe the original Hubsan Desire had a higher rate. And this one, when I do it, it does not do anything. I don't see it in the app either, so I don't see any way to increase the rates because it has very little pitch. You know, it's a gentle flyer made for taking video, and that's one reason why I'm a little concerned about flying it in much wind, because you could be prone to a blowaway of it. So here's your return to home button here. This is your auto takeoff and auto landing, and of course your power button. Up top here you've got a photo and a video button, and that does function with the app. And this would be for a camera tilt, which is not operational. It says these buttons because obviously the camera is fixed. I guess maybe they have some plans of making one that has a pitch tilt to the camera in it, and they just don't have that out yet. Your phone mounts right in here, so it's pretty easy to mount your phone right into here. I want to turn my buttons are on the side of my phone, so it's kind of easy to have to put it off to the side, otherwise you'll turn off the phone. But what's really bizarre about this is when you hold it and you turn it on, you probably see here, there's a Bluetooth light blinking. This controller does not function on its own, and that stinks. You can't just take this out and fly this like this. You've got to actually bind this to your phone through the app by Bluetooth. And then you also have to then bind it to the craft to your phone by Wi-Fi. So basically this is like a relay. Every command you send goes to the app by Bluetooth, and then the app then sends out the command to the quadcopter via Wi-Fi. I was really concerned that there'd be a lot more latency with that, and I was surprised that there really wasn't. So that was one surprise. Like I said, one of my concerns I'm not that concerned about. But I did lose my Bluetooth connectivity twice. One time it was brief, I was able to reestablish it through the app. And the second time I was running it all the way down to see what it would do when I got really low. And right whenever I was at like 2% battery, I lost my Bluetooth and I could not reestablish it. And it was going into land anyway. So I don't know what to think. It's very possible that it's just my phone, but I said just go, you know, all these multiple wireless connections is a bit flaky now. So that's something to be mindful of. Now you can fly just by the app, and the good thing was I was able to, you know, the app is this Hubsan app. And it's actually a really nice looking and functioning app. You know, you can still hit your return to home button on the app. I'll start it up here. I don't know if it's gonna come up without it connected with everything or not. You have to select the H216A here, and then you have to say enter device. And then you've got your options here. I'm not going to go over the app. I'm going to try to screen record it so you guys can see all the functions on it. But you can tell it to do a return to home over here if you do lose the connectivity. But the instructions do not mention whether this quadcopter will do a return to home on low battery or critical battery. You know, it does not tell you. I'm almost certain if you go out of the Wi-Fi range that it's going to fly back and land. I did not try to test that. It's not something I feel comfortable testing. But I flew it down to like 2% battery. Now I was not very far away from me, and right when I was trying to tell it to land through the app because I lost the Bluetooth connectivity, it did come on down and land itself. It could be that I was just too close. And some of these quadcopters, if you're not very far away, it'll just auto land rather than trying to fly over and return to the home spot. So that's possible. I just can't answer that because they do not tell you. The instructions are very well written, but they're very skimpy on details. So I don't know if this will fly back and land on low voltage. By my test flights, I'm going to have to say no. It's just going to auto land itself wherever it is. But I can't say with 100% certainty because it could be that I would just, you know, within, you know, 30 meters or something like that, it may just auto land within that zone. So that was kind of unfortunate that it, you know, it doesn't tell you about any of that stuff in there. But it had a good sat lock, you know, and it holds position pretty good. Just make sure you get a good compass calibration, because the first time I probably didn't do a good compass calibration. I was close to some metal or something, and it was toilet bowling, so I had to land and do it over, and then it was fine. So like I said, the Bluetooth connectivity is the biggest concern I have with this using the controller, but I guess thankfully you do have the app as a backup. But I like the feeling of the sticks and stuff like that. The flight time on it is rated at 12 minutes, and I was right around 12 minutes whenever I was at like 2% battery, like I said, and that's when it came down and landed. So like I said, I'd really like to see how it I'd like it, you know, it'd fly back and land at 10% battery like most of the GPS quadcopters do. But it was fairly accurate coming down and landing. I think whenever you give it inputs on the stick, as it's been I've not been able to fly as much. It's been over a week since I've flown it. It seems like it cancels the return to land or the auto land. So, you know, lots of times as you're coming down, and if it's going to be off from its GPS marked home location, it's nice to be able to correct the craft a little bit if it's going to, you know, bump into something. Especially if you took off in a cramped area. If I did that, it just kind of canceled it. So at least it paused it, but I would like to be able to correct the craft as it's coming down. So make sure you have a nice big clear open area for doing your takeoff, so that, you know, you don't have to worry about making any corrections as it lands. So we went over the app, the controller. I said we'll see the app more when I screen recorded the accessories, battery, charge time, flight time. I think we got it all. So let's go along. We'll move along now to that flight review. Okay guys, I have the Hubsan H216A Desire Pro out here on my tarmac. I did do a test flight with it after the table review in this wind, and it actually did better than I thought. It is very windy today, so I still am going to keep it relatively close, but you know, it does get a decent amount of pitch when you start to like turn or bank with it. But whenever you're just flying it straight, you know, it tends to like level itself out. I think that's just for better video quality. That's what I was worried about with it getting possibly blown away. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm recording the screen here, so that should be showing up on the video right now, so you can see the, you know, we have 11 satellites, a full 100% battery, full HD video feed, and full Bluetooth connection to the controller. To get into the controller, you go to your little settings icon, press the controller, go to the bottom, and it says using remote control. You go into there and select it from the list if you need to bind it. Usually the first time, you know, I've had to do it, but if I do it, you know, close together, like a few hours apart, it went ahead and auto connected to the Bluetooth. I didn't have to actually go in and select it from the app. So let's go ahead and take some video now. I'm going to press the video button on the controller. Well, you can also do it on the app, and it should be recording some 1080p video now. Let's go ahead and we'll do an auto takeoff. You can also start it, but just by pushing the the sticks down and out to do a manual takeoff. And I might try to show you that here if we have time. So it's hovering pretty nice. I don't see any toilet bowl effect, so that means we get the compass calibration good. I did that when I first started it up, but to try to keep this review from being insanely long, I'm not going to show you every little thing. That's really easy to do. You have to do it every time, though, that you power everything up and connect to the app. So you see it's pretty gentle flying here. That's into the wind. It's a pretty gusty south wind today. This time of the year it's going to always be really windy if it's not really cold. The video feed, you know, I can actually fly this by FPV because the lag is not bad, and surprisingly, like I mentioned earlier, the Bluetooth control from the controller to the app, and then from the app by Wi-Fi to the craft to the drone is not nearly as laggy as I expected. So it's really not an issue for me. My biggest problem is when the Bluetooth does drop, which has not been a frequent problem, but it's still a concern, because then if you can't get it to reconnect, you're stuck with trying to at least call it back to home by the app. And in a test flight I did earlier, it did not, the Bluetooth was fine. I had no problems. So let's let it off there and see how it hovers. So 11 satellites, 85% battery. You can see we've got 6.5 meters altitude and about 17 meters away from the home point. Let's take it up a little higher here. Just kind of slowly yaw it around here and get some video. Got about over 2 minutes of video here. The sinuses are really starting to kick up here. It could be the wind. it will raise up to probably, I have to look at the app and see. I didn't pay attention. It does raise up on a return to home. I'm guessing 15 meters. We'll see what it does here. It says we're at 8.5. It may be 10 meters. So let's go ahead and let's do a return home. You just have to press in on the button. Let's see. It turns and it faces. It's facing towards me. It's going to fly over. It looks like it says 9.6. Now it's at 10. So it's going to 10 meters. With this wind, I don't expect it to be incredibly accurate coming back. So let's see here. If I do try to correct it, it is going to, oh, that's not bad at all. I do expect it to, you know, the wind to blow it off at times and not be so accurate. It does seem to have a little trouble there. It finally stopped detecting the ground. It does that quite often. It will spin its props for quite a while. I'm going to go ahead and move it over here. And I'm going to stop recording. Go ahead and start recording again. I'm going to do a manual takeoff, just soon it sticks down and out, and just go ahead and just give it throttle. Fly a little sportier here if I can. See, it gets a decent amount of pitch when you go around. Look at that. It's going in funnels. You mean they're not real tight funnels, but whenever you're flying just in a straight line and not giving any pitch or yaw inputs, and just, I'm sorry, not any roll or yaw inputs, and you're just giving pitch input only, you'll see it kind of, look, it kind of levels out. That's kind of hard to see at that height. Let me bring it down, fly it over here to me. And that's forward, and they see how it kind of leveled out there? That's, I think, to help out with the video. It kind of starts out with a more pitch and then it levels itself out a little, and that is, I think that's by design. But that's going to make it a little more susceptible to a flyaway if you have a huge gust of wind, but you shouldn't be flying it if it's in that kind of conditions. I was worried about today with this 10 to 15 mile per hour wind, but it's doing just fine. So I wouldn't try it over 15 miles per hour though. And like I said, I'm still keeping it a lot closer than I probably would on a calm day. So the return to home I did earlier on my test flight here earlier today before this flight, I had one time it land in the bush over here, and it was about 6 feet off or so. It wasn't terribly accurate. That last one was much, much better. And I had 11 satellites then too. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and call it back. And it's going to raise up to 10 meters and it's going to fly over. And like I was saying in the table review, I don't know if it will return to land if you're very far away. Now see, that's going to be way off. Look at that. That's coming way off. So I'm going to have to give it input and try to correct it, and that's going to cancel it. So see, the wind was gusting there pretty good, and I think it was not able to get a good GPS, adjustment to try to get to the home spot. So let's go ahead and we'll move it over here a little bit, and we'll try doing another return to home from over here. But like I was saying, I don't know if it's going to fly back on low voltage if you're very far away. Obviously the range on this is not going to be very good. I don't know if it's 100 meters, but on the Wi-Fi you're not going to get very good range. But at 2% battery, it would just auto landed for me, but I was only probably 20-30 meters away. This looks like it's going to be a lot better this time. We're kind of in between gusts of wind. Yes, that's perfectly acceptable. That's only a few feet off, as long as it can detect the ground. There we go. Go ahead and stop recording again. So, not too bad on the accuracy there on these two. It was much less accurate the last flight, and I think that was because I was doing it during some pretty good gusts of wind, and that really on these little quadcopters. Even my Bugs 2 has that issue too. We'll go ahead and start recording again, and I go ahead and do another auto takeoff. But I'm sure that it has a fail-safe for if you get out of the Wi-Fi range, it'll fly back. I can't imagine it doesn't have that. It doesn't tell you. The instruction manual makes no mention of the fail-safes, unless I overlooked it. But I looked through that manual numerous times trying to find information on that. But the GPS holds well. It flies really nice. The 1080p video is above average in my opinion. Very, very good, and it seems to be a good, you can tell the lens on there looks pretty good. So it's not a super cheap camera. It's hard to get a good camera and GPS packed all into something to keep this price so low. So that's why it's brushed motors, obviously, because it'd be even more expensive if brushless. So I said you can do Waypoint Missions, which I don't have a whole lot of room here to do one unless it's really super close together with the waypoints. And you can do a follow me where it's going to follow the GPS in the app in your phone. But I'm not going to test that today here. Just want to give you an idea how this thing works and how it holds the position. Let's just go up here and then we'll kind of just get a little bit more video for you guys. I can see the wobble and that's from the wind. But if you look up there, it is holding position really nicely. I mean, within a foot or so, and it's probably even windier up there. So it's doing a heck of a job holding position. I got 41% battery. It is going to, when it gets like to 35 around there, it starts to vibrate your phone, and it will tell you in increments of 5 or 10. And so it's really good about telling you. Here we go right now. It says we're at 40%. So that's the first warning battery level. And it will do that, I think, at every 10%. And then when it gets down to around 5% is when I think that's when it auto landed for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording. I'm gonna go ahead and bring it around here and just do a manual, well, an auto landing, I should say, rather than a return to home. Let's just press when you press the auto land here, you can correct it then. See, I can fly it over here. I don't think it canceled. Let me try it again. Oh yeah, it did. I thought you could correct it on the auto landing, but no, you can't. So any inputs on the controller on return to land or return to home or auto landing cancels it. See, now it's having that's the one thing it is a booger about detecting the ground. I don't know why. But some of that was getting lifted off the ground from the wind, and that was confusing it. So all right, well, overall this works pretty darn well considering the lack of, the ability of the controller to be actually what you are controlling without the app. The Bluetooth to the Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi to the drone, was something I was really concerned about. And as long as you maintain the Bluetooth connection, it works really, really well. And I've had no issues today, but I have had problems in the past. So this review is long enough, so let's wrap it up now. So I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and stay tuned. I got a lot more things coming, and have a good day.
The power of the dark side.